4 of Terry Schultz. The 21 of Darren Porter going to be right there coming around on the outside into the number 3 spot as they come out of turn number 4. Drag race, Mark Davis going to take lap 1. Terry Schultz, Darren Porter, Ace O'Neill, and Ted Welshmeyer is how the field's lined out right now. Schultz going to be down to the bottom side as he's going to get the run off of 2 here. They're going to be door to door down into 3. Davis and Schultz door to door. Oh man, almost contact as you got a great battle for the race lead. Darren Porter sits back there in 3rd looking at the battle in front of him. Ted Welshmeyer back and 4th, and Ace O'Neill shuffled on back to 5th as we're going to be single file going down into turn number 3. Out of 4, it is all Mark Davis, Terry Schultz, Darren Porter, your top 3. You're going to be 2 wide. 1st and 2nd row through 3 and 4. Mark Davis squeezes ahead as they go down into 1 and 2. Ted Welshmeyer now jumped up to that number 3 spot as Welshmeyer starting to make a run on that number 2 spot. Schultz going to go right to the back bumper. Welshmeyer down to the bottom side as you come out of turn 4. It is Davis, Schultz, Welshmeyer. Good battle we got here in our Superstocks for heat number 1. For the Les Hayes Memorial Championship night here at the mighty Midway Lebanon Speedway. As we're going to come out of turn number 4, you're going to see 2 laps to go. Throw a blanket on the top 4. Is this really anybody's race right now? As they come out of turn 4, you're going to see the doctor's jacket in the air. One more trip around. It's make it or break it time now. Schultz going to drive it down in, not going to get it to stick. Porter going to go down to the bottom side of Welshmeyer. They're going to go down the back stretch and into turn 3 for the final time in this heat race. Going to see the checkered flag for the 56 of Mark Davis, Terry Schultz, Ted Welshmeyer going to be 1, 2, and 3. All right, and that's going to wrap up heat number 1. For your Power Ice Super Stocks. Up next going to be heat number 2, and well, I tell you what, Charlie, I think you did a good job on that first heat. Let's see if you can do it again.
Row 1 on the inside, we have the 53 of Danny O'Neill. On the outside, we have the 10 of Jody Romig. Sorry. Row 2, we have the 16, 164 of Michael Muskrat. On the outside, we have the OMS of Scott Lampy, riding shotgun all by himself. Row 3, we have the B4 of Blaney.
All right, so it appears the OMS of Scott Lampy unable to make the call. So we started with 5, we're down to 4, and we ain't even dropped the green flag. As the lights are off, the flag man's doing the jig. Green cone, nope.
All right, we're going to come down the back stretch into turn 3 and 4. Green flag in the air. Danny O'Neill's going to come out, try to go one on the top.
Danny O'Neill going to have the race lead as they're going to be 2 wide back here for that number 3 spot. The 10 of Jody Romer going to be sitting there in 2nd. As we're kind of single filed out right now, here comes the B4 of Blaine Ewing. He's down to the bottom side, going to make it a door-to-door battle for 2nd. As Michael Muskrat's going to shuffle back into 4th, but out front the 53 of Danny O'Neill, all by himself like the chess club president on prom night, as they're going to go down to the high side of 1 and 2. Going to be taking the long way around. Ewing tries to get the run off of 2 down the back stretch, unable to make it stick. As Romig's going to hold on to that race lead, but look at here, Ewing's got the run now as you got a new man in 2nd.
As we're going to come down the backstretch, turn 3 and 4, we got Danny O'Neill, still your race leader, as Ewing going to come try to run him down. But Danny O'Neill is still holding the first place line as they come out of turn 1 and 2. Ewing's going to try to come up out. It's going to be door-to-door between, never mind. Coming out of turn 3 and 4, we have Danny O'Neill and Ewing. Danny O'Neill is coming out of turn 1 and 2. We got coming down the back stretch, turn 3 and 4. We got Ewing in first place now, as your new race leader is Ewing. Coming out of turn 1 and 2. It's going to be a battle between third place between Jody roaming. White flag coming out of turn 1 and 2. Ewing going to be your race leader by a long ways away. We're going to come down the back stretch in turn 3 and 4 as Ewing's going to still be your race leader. Checkered flag in the air. Ewing, O'Neill, and Jody roaming, and us.
So good run there. Blaine Ewing picking up the win. Danny O'Neill and Jody Romick going to be your top 3. Up next, going to be your Power Eye Midwest Modified. Heat number 1 on the pole going to be the 14 of John Newell, and on his outside, the 00M of Matt Brookshire. Row 2 going to be the 55 of Adriel Shepard and the 23 of Mark Simon. Row 3, you got the 64 of Pete Gots to go Richardson, into his outside, the 65 of the Opportunist Trent Wynn. Row 4 going to be the 87 of Aaron Odell, into his outside, the 28 of Wesley Briggs. All right, race fans, here we go. We're going to shut the lights off at the line, and that means we're going to have 1 to go. We're going to be green flag racing when they come out at turn number 4. So it appears that Adriel Shepard unable to make the call. So that's going to take us from 8 cars to 7 cars. Newell, Brookshire up there on that front row. Richardson and Simon, row number 2. Odell and Wynn, row 3. And Briggs going to be back there by himself. Down into 3, they're going to go green cone, green flag. Here we go. Heat number 1 for Midwest Modifieds. Oh, a little bit of bumping and banging down there through 1 and 2 as they're going to be slingshotting like a rocket down the back stretch. Matt Brookshire going to be your race leader as they come out of turn 4. Aaron Odell up into the slickery stuff as he's going to bring it back down onto the track. We're going to stay clean and green. As Brookshire going to be your race leader. Simon 2nd, Richardson 3rd, Wynn 4th, and Newell in 5th. As we come out of turn 4, you got a new race leader, the 23 of Mark Simon, going to be taking the top shelf. Brookshire holds on to 2nd, Richardson in 3rd, Wynn in 4th. Wesley Briggs trying to get up and around the 14 of John Newell back here for that number 5 spot. But Mark Simon still your race leader. Brookshire holds on to 2nd. Richardson trying to get something down on that bottom side working, as here comes Trent Wynn, going to try to poke his nose in there, make it a 3-car battle. He gets the door shut. 3 cars battling for 2nd. Mark Simon says, see ya, bye-bye, as he's going to lead the field out of turn number 4. Trent Wynn now up into the number 3 spot as Trent Wynn starting to take the top shelf. Trent Wynn's found something. He's into 3rd. He's into the back bumper of Brookshire. As Simon crosses the flag stand, we're going to see 2 to go. Trent Wynn up into that number 2 spot. Pete Richardson says, hey, I'm going to follow you. As they're going to go top side. Richardson not going to stick it. As we're going to come out of turn number 4. White flag. 1 to go for the 23 of Mark Simon. Oh, a little bit of contact between Brookshire and Richardson as I've seen some sparks coming off of them 2 cars. Richardson's going to get around him down the backstretch out of turn 4. We're going to see the checkered flag for the 23, Mark Simon. Oh, Trent Wynn goes up in the dirt. Richardson second, Brookshire third. And that's going to wrap up heat number 1 for your Midwest Modifieds. Up next is going to be heat number 2. I'm going to go ahead and read the lineup as they pull onto the track. Going to be the double OT at Trenton Brookshire on the pole into his outside, the 8K at Tyler Cadutston. Row number 2 going to be the 7C at Derek Cook and the 4 at Caleb Rhodes. Row 3 you got the 09 of Austin Beam and the 17 of Garrett Parker. And in that 4th row all by himself going to be the 7W of Wesley Breedlove. So heat number 2 out here on the track for your Power Eye Midwest Modifieds. We're going to send them around one more time to make sure that moisture is good and rolled in. And then we're going to shut the lights off and we're going to put the skinny pedal down. Lights are off, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be green flag when they come out of turn number 4. 8 laps going to be the distance with 7 cars. Down the back stretch, Brookshire going to be on the pole. Cadutston out there on that outside pole. Down into turn 3. Green cone. Heat 2 is underway. Down the back stretch, the 8K. Tyler Cadutston's going to have the race lead. Here comes the 4 of Caleb Rhodes. As we're going to come out of turn number 4, it is Cadutston, Rhodes, Brookshire, your top 3. There's the 7C of Derek Cook. He's going to be up there trying to make it a 3-car battle for the number 2 spot. As we're going to be single file down the back stretch and into turn 3. Lap 2, still the 8K. Oh, no. Cook bobbled it. That's going to let the 17 of Garrett Parker slide up into the number 4 spot. Cook's going to get back on the throttle and try to run him back down. Tyler Cadunston up there in the lead. Followed in by Caleb Rhodes, Trenton Brookshire. That's the top 3. Is there a separation between first and second, and a separation between third and fourth, as there is a battle for 4th and 5th back here between Parker and Cook. As Cook bobbled it earlier in the race, still trying to recover. Oh, Trenton Brookshire goes up high out of turn 2, almost makes contact with the wall, gets it back down onto the track. He's going to hold on to that number 3 spot, as it is Tyler Cadunston, your race leader down the backstretch. He goes it into 3. Caleb Rhodes going to be sitting there in second. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Our first caution of the night comes out for the 09 of Austin Beam, as he loops it around over here, coming out of treacherous turn number 4. All right, here we go. Delaware double file restart. Tyler Cadunston going to be out front. Caleb Rhodes picking the high side. Trenton Brookshire going to be down there on the bottom side of row number 2, followed in by Garrett Parker, Derek Cook, Wesley Breedlove, Austin Beam. Out of turn 4, green flag going to be in the air as we got 2 more trips around. Derek Cook gets back up there. Oh, look at that. Derek Cook going to play a little Jeopardy and get the daily double 2-for-1 special. Oh, contact between Trenton and Parker. Parker's going to loop it around, park it. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Derek Cook, man, he shot out a 2, got the 2-for-1 special into 3rd. And then Trenton Brookshire and Garrett Parker made a little bit of contact coming out of 4, and that caused Parker to get loose and come around. Here we go. Lights are down. Green next time by. Tyler Cadunston still your race leader. Caleb Rhodes sits in 2nd, and Derek Cook up into that number 3 spot. Trenton Brookshire holds on to 4th after the last lap. Him and Parker had a little bit of contact, as we're going to go down into turn number 3. This is going to be a pretty sight. Watch the flagman. Green and white together. 1 to go. It's an all-out dogfight. Brookshire right to the bottom side of Cook. As they come out of turn 4, checkered flag for the AK, Tyler Cadunston. Caleb Rhodes, Trenton Brookshire, your top 3. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, going to be your Power Eye Pure Stocks. Heat number 1, and here's how they're going to line up on the pole. Going to be that 174 of Derek Lampy into his outside, the T10 of Samuel McDaniel. Row number 2 going to be the 21D of Darren Porter. And on his outside, the 25 of Aaron Ricks. Row number 3 going to be the 24 of Trevor Ellington and the 18 of Dalton Bell. And our 4th and final row, the 0 of James Reedus. Flag here for your first heat of pure stocks. Oh, a little bit of contact, playing a little bit of bumper cars. Derek Lampy going to jump out to that early race lead. As Samuel McDaniel going to be right there in that number 2 spot. Darren Porter going to be rounding out your top 3. Down the back stretch to 174. Derek Lampy's got the race lead. Samuel McDaniel holds on to second. Darren Porter third, but here comes the 24 of Trevor Ellington as he's going to try to run down that 21 machine. James Reedus up into the number 5 spot. Aaron Riggs and Dalton Bell rounds out your field as it is all Derek Lampy. Samuel McDaniel holds on to second. Now Porter down to the bottom side, not able to get it to stick. McDaniel's going to get the run out of 2 and down the back stretch. As Porter going to be right there to the back tire. Out of turn number 4. It is still the wagon power in the lead. Two to go. Porter still trying to get around the T10 of Samuel McDaniel. Derek Lampy still your race leader. Here comes Trevor Ellington. Ellington going to be to the back bumper of second and third as they're going to go down the back stretch and into 3. White flag, 1 to go. Out of turn 4, checkered flag for the 174 and Derek Lampy. Samuel McDaniel and Darren Porter, your top 3. And that will wrap up Heat 1 for your Power Eye Pure Stocks. Up next is going to be Heat number 2, and here's how they're going to line up. On the pole, going to be the 68 of Rhonda Lamke into her outside. The 23 of Mark Simon. Row 2 going to be the 12 of Greg Dykstra and the 21 of Carson Groniger. Row number 3 going to be the 111 of Ross Waters, and on his outside, the 5 of Justin McDowell. Green flag going to be in the air for heat number 2, Pure Stocks. Mark Simon jumps out to the early race lead. Rhonda Lamke holds on to second. Here comes Carson Groniger, Greg Dykstra, and McDowell. They're going to be right there, 2nd through 5th. Throw, oh, look out. Rhonda slides up the hill, chops the nose off Dykstra. As McDowell going to be down to the bottom side. Groniger going to be sitting there in second. Added money for our Pure Stock class here tonight, and these boys are hungry. Let me phrase that. These boys girl is hungry. The 23, Mark Simon, your race leader. Carson Groniger, Justin McDowell, your top three. Mark Simon got a good lead as Carson Groniger holds on to second. Justin McDowell has secured his spot in third. Greg Dykstra sitting in fourth or fifth, trying to get around Rhonda Lampke into that number 4 spot. Mark Simon coming out of the turns as Groniger and McDowell are going in. Simon a full straightaway lead as Groniger holds on to second. Justin McDowell third. Rhonda Lampke doing good, sitting in fourth. Greg Dykstra and Ross Waters holds on to that number 6 spot. 2 more trips around for the 23 of Mark Simon. White flag, 1 to go for the 23 of Mark Simon as he's got an even bigger lead. Justin McDowell still trying to find a line to get around the 21 of Carson Groniger. Greg Dykstra almost loops it, takes a shortcut through the infield and jumps back into the race as Mark Simon going to take the checkered flag. Carson Groniger, Justin McDowell, your top 3. Oh, look out, Justin McDowell almost spun it out on the backstretch after the checkered. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, going to be heat number 3 for your PowerEye Pure Stocks, and it's going to be the 21P of Peyton McDowell on the pole, and to his outside, the OMS of Scott Lampy. Row number 2 on the inside going to be the 4G of Shane Headley and the 9P of Mike Piercy. Row number 3, you got the 23R of Jeff Reed and the N42 of Chad Nivens. So we are door to door. Lights are off. We're going to be green flag out of turn 4 with the final heat race in your PowerEye Pure Stock division here tonight at the Les Hayes Memorial Championship night, the final night at the Mighty Midway. Green flag going to be in the air for heat number 3. Peyton McDowell jumped out to an early race lead as Shane Headley going to be holding on to that number 2 spot. Here comes the 9P of Mike Piercy. He's on the attack, on the hunt, and on the prowl as we're going to come through 3 and 4. Peyton McDowell, your race leader. Shane Headley going to hold on to that number 2 spot, but Piercy, he's on the move. He's down to the bottom side of Scott Lampy there as Lampy's going to get the run out of 4. Piercy holds on to 4th as it is Peyton McDowell, your race leader. Shane Headley 2nd. The OMS of Scott Lampy in 3rd, and then Mike Piercy 4th. But the battle is still underway between Lampy and Piercy. Now Nivens trying to get in there and poke his nose. We got a race from 3rd on back. Look at that, look at that. The N42 swapping it up, going on down to the bottom side. As Piercy comes right to the back bumper of Lampy and says, hey, guy, you got to get out of my way. Contact between Nivens and Piercy. Nivens is all over the 9P there. He says that car looks a little too new. We got to put a few scratches on it. Peyton McDowell, your race leader. Shane Headley, Scott Lampy, your top 3. Now Jeff Reed's going to get up there and around. As Jeff Reed going to try to get into that number 4 spot as they go down the back stretch. Jeff Reed's got 4th. 2 to go for the 21P of Peyton McDowell. Shane Headley, Scott Lampe, but here comes the 23R of Jeff Reed as he's down to the bottom side of Lampe, trying to get up into the top 3. White flag for the 21P as he's got one more trip around. Shane Headley better stomp on the loud pedal because they're coming. Coming out of turn number 4, your race leader, the 21 of Peyton McDowell, going to take the checkered. Out of 4 for the rest of the field, Shane Headley second, and Jeff Reed taking home that top 3. And here comes heat number 1 for your Power IB mods out onto the track. And Charlie, why don't you give us this lineup?
Starting on row 1 in the inside, we have the 42J of Donnie Jackson. On the outside, we have the 16 of Brian Myers. Row 2, we have the number 2 of Eric Graves. On the outside, we have the 5 of Robert White. Row 3, we have the 55G of Luke Gideon. On the outside, we have the 195 of Tyler Dawson. All right, race fans, we're going to go down the back stretch and turn 3 and 4. Green flag in the air. We're going to have Donnie Jackson coming out of turn 1 and 2. 16 of Brian Myers is going to try to get ahead of Donnie Jackson as we're going to come down the back stretch. There's going to be a battle between third place between Donnie and Robert White. As we're going to come down turn 1 and 2, there's going to be a battle between first place between Donnie Jackson and Brian Myers. As we come down to turn 3 and 4, Brian Myers is going to try the low side. He's going to try to sweep his way up there, but Donnie Jackson's going to say, nope, not today. And coming out of turn 1 and 2, Donnie Jackson pulled it away from Brian Myers as they come down the back stretch. Turn 3 and 4 is Donnie Jackson still your race leader, as Brian Myers is going to try to come up. And coming out of turn 1 and 2, they're going to be door to door as we're going to come into the back stretch into turn 1 and 2. And into turn 3 and 4, your new race leader is Brian Myers, but then Donnie Jackson passes him. We're going to be door to door between Brian Myers and Donnie Jackson, as Donnie Jackson's going to get away from him as we come down the back stretch in turn 3 and 4. And Donnie Jackson's going to get a little bit wiggly, and that's going to cause Donnie Jackson to get away from Brian Myers, but Brian Myers is going to try to make his way back up there into the try to get his way back up to the number 1 spot. But Donnie Jackson's going to too fast for Brian Myers. Brian Myers, your new race leader is Brian Myers as we come into turn 1 and 2. Donnie Jackson, it's going to be door-to-door battle for first place as Brian Myers is going to speed away from Donnie Jackson as we come out of turn 3 and 4. White flag in the air for Brian Myers. Into turn 1 and 2, Brian Myers is going to slowly pass Donnie Jackson as we come out of turn 3 and 4. As one lap left to go, we're going to have a checkered flag in the air for Brian Myers, Donnie Jackson, and then Robert White.
And that's going to wrap up heat number 1. Up next is going to be heat number 2 for your Power IB mods, and here's how they're going to line up. On the pole, going to be the 5C of Brian Cook and to his outside, the 77 of Jeremy Hazel. Row number 2 going to be the 55 of Colson Kirk and to his outside, the 55K of Terry Kirk. Row number 3 going to be the 68 of Donnie Betts and the 14C of Cody Crabtree. Out of turn number 4, green flag going to be in the air for heat number 2. Oh, look at the 3-car battle we had down the front stretch at the start. Brian Cook slides up, chops the nose off Hazel. Here comes the 2 Kirks, Colson and Terry, as they're going to be down on the bottom side. Colson Kirk in the red 55, Terry in the white 55. As it is an all-out battle in the mid-pack here. Oh, man, Brian Cook kind of got a little squirrely, chopped the nose off of Terry Kirk. Colson Kirk says, see you, bye-bye, boys, have fun. As he's going to have the race lead down through 1 and 2. Brian Cook going to hold on to second. Terry Kirk third. Jeremy Hazel fourth. Crabtree fifth. And Donnie Betts going to be sitting in that number 6 spot. Oh, Cook went a little too high. That's going to let Kirk come around. So now you got the 2. Oh, Cook goes high again. That lets Hazel come around. Brian Cook bobbled it through 3 and 4, 1 and 2, allowing 2 cars to come around. Colson Kirk, your race leader. Terry Kirk second. Jeremy Hazel third. And Brian Cook's hold on to that number 4 spot. We're going to come out of turn 4 with your race leader, the 55K of Colson Kirk. Terry Kirk there in second. Oh, I apologize. The 55 is Colson Kirk. The 55K is Terry Kirk. I'm pretty sure they're related, but I'm not sure. But right now, the race leader going to be the 55 of Colson Kirk. Well, I've just been informed you got a father-son duo out there. Here comes the young gun, the son, Colson Kirk to the white flag. His dad going to follow up behind him in second to the white flag. Jeremy Hazel going to be third. Brian Cook trying to get up to 4th as Donnie Betts slides in. Down into 3 with your race leader for the final time. You're going to see the checkered flag for the 55 of Colson Kirk. Terry Kirk second and Jeremy Hazel going to be your top 3.
Race fans, we're going to start heat 3 like this, reading off whoever the drivers are. Starting on the inside, number 1 on the inside row, the 65 himself, Chris Jackson. On the outside, we have the 21 of Joshua Reddy. Row 2, we have the Apex Predator, Derek Watson. Number is 5W. On the outside, we have the 18 of Austin Joplin. Row 3, we have the 20D of Dawson David. On the outside, we have the 49 of Mason Rodden. Green flag in the air. We're going to come out the back stretch and turn 3 and 4 as Chris Jackson's going to make his way to the flag stand as Derek Watson's going to fall right behind him coming out of turn 1 and 2. Derek Watson's going to try to move his way up to that number 1 spot as we come down the back stretch and turn 3 and 4. Derek Watson's going to go low Watson's going to try to go low on Chris Jackson. Chris Jackson's going to fling some sparks out the way. Coming out of turn 1 and 2, Chris Jackson's going to try to pull away from Derek Watson. But Derek Watson's not going to happen. But there's going to be a 3-wide battle in the backfield for 3rd place. But at front, we have Chris Jackson still in your race lead. But then we got Derek Watson coming down the back stretch. Derek Watson's going to try to go low again to get into the first. Derek Watson. But still your race leader is Chris Jackson coming out of turn 1 and 2. And 3rd is Austin Joplin. But then coming down the back stretch, turn 3 and 4, we got Chris Jackson and Derek Watson going to try to make his way up as Chris Jackson's going to try to slowly pull his way away from him. But coming out of turn 1 and 2, Chris Jackson's going to get away from Derek Watson, but Derek Watson's going to gain a little bit of speed on him. Derek Watson's going to try to go low so he can get there. But Austin Joplin, there's a gap between 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. But then Derek Watson's going to try to fill the gap for first and second. Chris Jackson doesn't want that to happen. After he comes out of turn 3 and 4, Chris Jackson's going to try to pull away as it's white flag in the air. Coming at turn 1 and 2, Chris Jackson's still your race leader as Derek Watson's going. Chris Jackson's going to pull away from Derek Watson, but Derek Watson doesn't want that to happen as he wants to pull first. But Chris Jackson, checkered flag in the air for Chris Jackson, Derek Watson, and Austin Joplin.